I stared at the phone in my trembling hand, watching Mom's name flash across the screen for the 14th time in 10 minutes. My finger hovered over the red button. Behind me, through the thin walls of my dorm room, I could hear Madison laughing with her friends, planning their spring break trip to Cancun, funded, no doubt, by the money that should have been mine. The voicemail notification appeared. I already knew what it would say. The same thing she'd been screaming at me for the past hour. Withdraw the appeal, you're embarrassing the family. Madison needs that money more than you do. My sister Madison, golden child, daddy's princess. The one who'd stolen my scholarship application essays, changed a few words, and submitted them as her own. The one who'd been mistakenly awarded the full-ride scholarship to Princeton that I'd spent 4 years working toward while she partied her way through high school with a 2.8 GPA. And when I'd finally worked up the courage to file an appeal with the financial aid office, pointing out the suspicious similarities between our applications, my own mother had turned on me like a rabid dog. "You selfish, ungrateful bitch," she'd hissed over the phone that morning. "After everything we've done for you, after we took you in, fed you, clothed you, took me in, as if I were some charity case instead of her biological daughter." My phone buzzed again. This time it was Dad. "Your mother is having heart palpitations because of your stunt. If anything happens to her, it's on you." I felt the familiar tightness in my chest, the crushing weight of guilt they'd spent 19 years conditioning into me. My hand moved to withdraw the appeal. It would be easier. It always was easier to just give in, to let Madison win, to make everyone else happy at my own expense. The screen blurred. I was crying, I realized distantly. When had I started crying? My finger hit the button. 3 hours later, I was dead. The truck came out of nowhere. At least, that's what the police report would say. I'd been so consumed by misery after withdrawing my appeal, so devastated by my own cowardice that I'd walked into the intersection without looking. The impact was instant. One moment I was drowning in self-loathing. The next I was floating in darkness, consciousness fragmenting like shattered glass. My last thought was a bitter laugh. At least Mom's heart palpitations will go away. Then nothing, then everything. I woke up screaming. My hands flew to my chest, searching for the wound, the blood, the shattered ribs, but there was nothing. Just smooth skin beneath my fingers and the familiar pink walls of my childhood bedroom. My childhood bedroom. I sat up so fast my head spun. This wasn't possible. This room had been converted into Madison's walk-in closet when I was 12. I looked down at my hands, smaller, younger. The scar from the broken bottle incident not yet there. The digital clock on my butsa. Nightstand read 3:47 a.m., March 15th. March 15th, 4 years ago, the night before the regional science fair where I'd won first place, the science fair that had gotten me noticed by Princeton's recruitment office. The beginning of everything that had led to my scholarship application, Madison's theft, and my eventual death. This wasn't possible. This was insane. This was... A memory hit me like a freight train. Madison at 15, sneaking into this very room, photographing my research notes with her phone. I'd caught her and she'd cried, said she just wanted to understand my project, that she admired me so much. I'd believed her, helped her with her own project. She'd placed 8th. I'd thought nothing of it at the time, but now, with the clarity of hindsight, I could see the pattern. That was the first time she'd stolen from me. It wouldn't be the last. I fell back onto my pillow, mind reeling. I was 15 years old again, and I remembered everything. The science fair played out exactly as I remembered. I won first place. The local news interviewed me. A Princeton alumnus in the audience asked for my email address to pass along to the admissions office. Madison watched from the crowd, her face a mask of poorly concealed envy. But this time, I saw her slip out early. This time, I noticed her whispering to Mom in the parking lot, saw the way Mom's face softened as she looked at Madison and hardened when she glanced my way. At dinner that night, Mom set down a plate of burnt chicken in front of me while serving Madison a perfect portion of her favorite lasagna. "Your sister's feeling a bit down about her placement at the fair," Mom said, her tone making it clear this was somehow my fault. "Maybe you could help her with her project next time? Share some of your ideas?" I'd done exactly that in my first life. Given Madison my research, my time, my ideas, believing that helping my sister was what good people did. "I'm pretty busy with my own work, Mom," I said instead, forcing my voice to stay level. "Maybe Madison could try developing her own ideas." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Excuse me? Mom's fork clattered against her plate. That's incredibly selfish, Rebecca. Madison looks up to you. The least you could do is let her copy my work? The words came out sharper than intended. So she can take credit for it? Dad's head snapped up from his phone. What did you just say? Madison's eyes filled with tears, a skill she'd perfected over the years. I just wanted to understand what you were doing, Becca. I thought we were sisters. And there it was, the guilt trip, the tears. The way Mom immediately wrapped Madison in her arms while glaring at me like I was a monster. Apologize to your sister, Dad commanded. In my first life, I had. I'd apologized, comforted Madison, and spent the next 3 years helping her with every project, every paper, every assignment she couldn't be bothered to do herself. No, I said. The silence was deafening. The next 3 years were war. I spent my first life trying to earn my family's love, never understanding that I was playing a rigged game. Madison was the chosen one, the beloved daughter. And I was... what? The backup child? The servant? I'd never figured it out. But now I understood. I'd been the scapegoat. The one who absorbed all their dysfunctions so Madison could shine. The one who worked twice as hard for half the recognition. The one who made everyone else's life easier at the cost of my own, not anymore. I stopped helping Madison with her homework, stopped covering for her when she came home drunk, stopped lending her money, clothes, or my car. I focused entirely on my own future. Perfect grades, stellar test scores, building a portfolio that would make me irresistible to colleges. And I documented everything. Every time Madison tried to steal my work, I took screenshots, photos, videos. Every time Mom gave her money while telling me to get a job. Every time Dad missed my academic awards but never missed Madison's cheer competitions. Every disparaging comment, every act of favoritism, every moment of cruelty, I recorded it all, not for revenge, not yet, for evidence. Because I remembered what was coming. I remembered the scholarship, and this time I would be ready. The summer before senior year, Madison started asking about my college applications. Where are you applying? She asked one morning over breakfast, her tone too casual. I remembered this conversation. In my first life, I'd told her everything. My essay topics, my extracurriculars, the special Princeton program I was targeting. 2 months later, when I'd finally read her essays to help her improve them, I'd found entire paragraphs lifted from my own work. I'm not sure yet, I lied. Still figuring it out? Come on, Becca, we're sisters, we can help each other. Mom looked up from her phone. Rebecca, stop being so secretive. Madison's just trying to bond with you. Bond, right? The way a parasite bonds with its host. I'll share when I'm ready, Mom. You've always been so competitive with your sister, Dad chimed in without looking up from his newspaper. It's not healthy. I bit my tongue hard enough to taste blood. They'd rewritten history so thoroughly that they actually believed their own lies. In their version of reality, I was the problem. I was the jealous one. Never mind that Madison had failed 3 classes last year while I maintained a 4.0. Never mind that I worked 2 part-time jobs while Madison's allowance was 3 times my monthly earnings. I'm not competing with anyone, I said quietly. I'm just trying to succeed. At Madison's expense, Mom snapped. I left the kitchen before I said something I'd regret. Or rather, something they'd twist into another reason why I was the bad daughter. September rolled around, college applications opened. I spent every spare moment crafting my essays, polishing my portfolio, perfecting every element of my application to Princeton. And I kept it all locked away. Password-protected files, hidden folders, a journal I kept in my locker at school. Madison tried everything to access my work, sneaking into my room, attempting to guess my passwords, even paying my friend Jessica $50 to steal my notebook. Jessica told me about the bribe attempt. Apparently, Madison had approached half my friend group with similar offers. Most told me. A few took the money and tried. They found nothing. Your sister is weird, Jessica said one day after school. She keeps asking about you, about what you write about, what you care about. It's creepy. She's just insecure, I said, the words automatic. Even now, even knowing what I knew, part of me still made excuses for her. She's obsessed, Jessica corrected, and not in a good way. If only she knew how right she was. The night before Thanksgiving, I finished my Princeton application. The essay was perfect, a reflection on resilience, on building yourself up in an environment that constantly tears you down, on being invisible and choosing to become undeniable. It was raw and real and mine in a way nothing else in my life had ever been. I encrypted the file and uploaded it to 3 separate cloud storage accounts. Then I created a decoy folder on my laptop labeled College Essays, Final, filled it with mediocre drafts, and waited. Madison broke into my room that weekend while I was at work. I knew because I'd set up a basic ocean-activated camera, just my old phone propped on my bookshelf, angled at my desk. The footage showed her picking the lock on my desk drawer. Where had she learned that? Triumphantly pulling out my college essay notebook, a fake one I'd planted, and spending 20 minutes photographing every page. I watched the video 3 times, marveling at her dedication. She really thought she was clever. She really thought I wouldn't know. In my first life, I hadn't. I'd been too trusting, too naive, too desperate to believe my family loved me. Not anymore. December came. I submitted my application to Princeton along with applications to 15 other schools, all with unique essays Madison had never seen. 2 weeks later, Madison announced she was applying to Princeton too. Wow, following in your sister's footsteps? Dad said, beaming. That's wonderful, sweetheart. I just think it's such a great school, Madison gushed. Becca inspired me. I said nothing, just smiled and nodded and waited. Mom cornered me in the kitchen that night. I want to read your Princeton essay. Why? Because Madison's struggling with hers, and I think it would help her to see what a strong essay looks like. There it was, not even pretending anymore. No, I said, Mom's face twisted. Excuse me? I said no. My essay is personal. I'm not sharing it. After everything we've done for you, what exactly have you done for me? The words exploded out before I could stop them. You give Madison everything and me nothing. You praise her for showing up while I work myself to exhaustion and get criticized for not doing enough. You want me to hand over my essay so she can plagiarize it, just like she's plagiarized everything else I've ever done. The slap came out of nowhere. One moment I was standing, the next I was on the floor, cheek burning, ears ringing. How dare you, Mom hissed. How dare you accuse your sister? I have proof, I said, tasting blood. Years of it. I'd never said that in my first life. I'd never fought back. And now, looking up at my mother's fury-twisted face, I understood why. It was easier to be the victim, safer. Fighting back meant risking everything, but I'd already lost everything once. I had nothing left to fear. They grounded me, took my car keys, my laptop, not my secret backup laptop hidden at school, my phone, not my backup phone. Told me I was being emotionally manipulative and tearing the family apart. Madison cried for days, playing the wounded innocent while Mom comforted her, and Dad gave me disappointed looks. I didn't care. Let them think they'd won. Let them believe they'd silenced me. I submitted my applications from the school library. I changed all my passwords and security questions. I set up email forwarding so all college correspondence would go to an account they didn't know existed. And I waited. March arrived like a ticking time bomb. Decision letters would come in late March, early April. I'd gotten into Princeton in my first life only to watch Madison get the scholarship that should have been mine. This time would be different. The first letter came on March 23rd. Harvard, accepted with a generous financial aid package. I told no one. Yale, accepted, full scholarship. Stanford, accepted, full ride, plus stipend. MIT, accepted, complete funding. Princeton, accepted, full scholarship plus the Jacobson Merit Award, $50,000 reserved for their most exceptional incoming student. I stared at that last letter for a full hour, hands shaking. The Jacobson Award. The one Madison had won in my first life. The one that was supposed to be mine all along. This time, I'd beaten her to it. Madison's acceptance letter from Princeton came 3 days later. I knew because she screamed loud enough to shake the house. I got in! I got in! Mom, Dad, I got into Princeton! The celebration was immediate and excessive. Champagne, for them, sparkling cider for Madison. A fancy dinner reservation. Calls to every relative to brag about Madison's achievement. No one asked if I'd heard back from any schools. No one cared. I ate my mediocre pasta in silence while Madison held court, describing her essay, my stolen essay from the fake notebook, her interview, which Mom had paid a consultant to coach her through, her perfect application, built on the foundation, of my stolen work. When do you find out about scholarships? Madison asked sweetly, directing the question at me for the first time all evening. I'm not sure, I said. The financial aid office will send information soon. In my first life, we'd gotten our scholarship notifications on the same day, April 15th. Madison had received the Jacobson Award. I'd received nothing. Just the standard financial aid package that would have left me $50,000 in debt. This time, my letter had already arrived, but I wasn't telling them that. Not yet. April 15th dawned gray and cold. I woke at 6 a.m. and checked my secret email account one more time, making sure the dean's message from last week was still there. Dear Ms. Rebecca Chen, it is my profound pleasure to inform you that you have been selected as this year's recipient of the Jacobson Merit Award. Your application demonstrated not only academic excellence, but a rare depth of character and resilience that embodies the very best of what Princeton University represents. I would like to personally invite you to campus for our Admitted Students Weekend, where we can discuss your scholarship package and your plans for your time at Princeton. Congratulations, Rebecca. We are honored to welcome you to our university community. Warmest regards, Dean Patricia Morrison. I'd read it 50 times. Each time felt like vindication. Madison's scream came at 6:47 a.m. What? I walked downstairs in time to see her staring at her laptop, face pale. What's wrong, honey? Mom asked, rushing to her side. There must be a mistake, Madison whispered. There has to be. Dad peered over her shoulder at the screen. His face fell. What does it say? Mom demanded. Standard financial aid package, Dad read aloud. No merit scholarships. They're offering loans and work study, but what about the Jacobson Award? Madison's voice was rising. I was supposed to get the Jacobson Award. My essay was perfect. Maybe they haven't sent it yet, Mom said desperately. Maybe it's a separate email? No, I said quietly from the doorway. They only give one Jacobson Award per year. If you didn't get it, someone else did. 3 faces turned to me. How do you know that? Dad asked slowly. I pulled out my phone, the secret one, and opened my email. Turned the screen so they could see. The dean's message, the congratulations, the invitation, the award. The silence was absolute. You stole it from me, Madison said finally, her voice shaking. You did something. You sabotaged me. I earned it, I corrected. On merit, unlike some people. What is that supposed to mean? Mom's voice was dangerous. I'd been preparing for this moment for 3 years, planning it, perfecting it. Now that it was here, I felt unnaturally calm. It means Madison plagiarized her essay from my notebook, the one she broke into my room to photograph, the one I knew she'd steal, so I filled it with mediocre work. That's a lie, Madison shrieked. Is it? I pulled up another folder on my phone. Because I have the motion-activated footage of you picking my desk lock. I have the metadata showing when I created my real essays versus when you submitted yours. I have 3 years of documentation showing every time you stole my work, copied my ideas, or took credit for my accomplishments. I looked at my parents. And I have years of evidence of your favoritism. Every dollar you gave Madison while telling me to work for my own money. Every time you attended her events, but not mine. Every meal where she got a full plate and I got scraps. Every single thing. Dad's face was red. This is nonsense. You're being paranoid, Basse. I have bank statements, I continued, showing you paid for Madison's SAT prep courses, her college consultant, her application fees, while I worked 2 jobs to pay for my own. I have text messages where you told me to withdraw my scholarship appeal in my first. I stopped. They couldn't know about my death, my rebirth, but the words hung in the air, strange and incomplete. Your first what? Mom asked. My first instinct was right, I finished smoothly, that Madison was stealing from me, and I was going to let you bully me into backing down, but not this time. Madison was crying now, real tears, probably for the first time in her life. You're crazy. You're insane. You did this to hurt me. I did this to succeed, I said. Despite you. Despite all of you. I looked at each of them in turn. My mother, who'd hit me for daring to stand up for myself. My father, who'd never seen me as anything but a burden. My sister, who'd built her entire identity on my stolen work. I'm leaving, I said. I'm moving out today. I've already arranged housing with a friend until graduation. Don't contact me. Don't come to my graduation. As far as I'm concerned, we're done. You ungrateful, Mom started. Thank you, I interrupted, Parna, for showing me exactly what I'm worth to you. It made this decision very easy. I walked out of that house and never looked back. The next 2 months were the freest of my life. I moved in with Jessica's family, who welcomed me with open arms and actual affection. I worked my jobs, maintained my grades, and ignored the increasingly unhinged messages from my family. Madison's messages were the worst, alternating between begging me to fix this and accusing me of ruining her life. Mom threatened legal action. For what? She never specified. Dad tried the guilt approach, reminding me of all the times they'd been there for me. They hadn't. I blocked them all. The turning point came in early May. I was at work, my shift at the library, when my secret phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Ms. Chen, this is Dean Morrison from Princeton. My heart stopped. Yes? I wanted to call personally because we've had an unusual development. We received a formal complaint alleging that you plagiarized your application essay. The world tilted. What? The complaint came from someone claiming to be your sister. She provided what she says is evidence that you copied her work. I'd expected them to try something, but not this. Not to actually contact Princeton. Dean Morrison, I said, forcing my voice steady, I can prove every word of my essay is my own work. I have early drafts with timestamps, metadata, even process notes showing my research and outlining. What did she provide? Photographs of what appears to be a handwritten essay in a notebook, dated several months before your application. The fake notebook, of course. That's a decoy, I said in a. May I send you the real evidence, including footage of her breaking into my room to steal that notebook and proof that the essay in it was deliberately written poorly to bait her into plagiarizing it? A pause. You set a trap for your own sister? I protected my work, I corrected, after years of her stealing from me. I have documentation going back 3 years if you'd like to see it. Another pause, longer this time. Ms. Chen, that won't be necessary. I pulled our records and your essay was submitted 2 weeks before your sister's application was even started, according to our tracking data. Additionally, your essay demonstrates a depth of self-reflection and writing sophistication that, frankly, your sister's does not. Even if they covered similar topics, yours is clearly the original work. Relief flooded through me. So you're not rescinding my acceptance? Absolutely not. In fact, I'm calling to invite you to a special lunch during Admitted Students Weekend. I'd like to discuss something with you in person. Admitted Students Weekend was in June. I took the bus to Princeton feeling like I was stepping into a dream. The campus was everything I remembered from my first life, but better. Because this time, I was walking in as the Jacobson Scholar. This time, I belonged. Dean Morrison met me at the admissions office, a tall woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Rebecca, she said warmly, it's wonderful to meet you in person. We walked to a private dining room in one of the historic buildings. Over lunch, she explained the situation. Your application was extraordinary, she said, but what really stood out was what happened after. The complaint from your sister, your documentation, your composure under pressure. It demonstrated exactly the kind of resilience and integrity we value. She set down her fork and looked at me directly. I've been doing this for 20 years, Rebecca. I've seen thousands of applications, but I've never seen someone so thoroughly document their own intellectual property rights. Why did you do it? How could I explain? That I'd lived this before, that I'd watched my work stolen and my future destroyed, and I died knowing I was too weak to fight back? I knew she'd try, I said instead. My sister has been stealing my work for years. I got tired of letting it happen. Why didn't you report it before? Because they're my family, I said quietly. And I kept hoping things would change, that they'd see me, value me, love me. But they never did. Dean Morrison nodded slowly. I want to tell you something. After we received your sister's complaint, I did something unusual. I called some of your teachers, your employers, people who wrote your recommendation letters. Every single person I spoke to described you the same way: resilient, hardworking, brilliant, and underestimated. She pulled out a folder. I also looked into your sister's application more closely. Do you know she listed several academic awards that you actually won? She claimed to be captain of the debate team. You're the captain. She even used your volunteer work as her own. I hadn't known that. In my first life, I'd never seen Madison's application. We would have caught it eventually, Dean Morrison continued, but likely not until after she'd enrolled, at which point it would have been complicated. Thanks to your documentation, we were able to verify everything immediately. She slid a letter across the table. Your sister's acceptance has been rescinded for academic dishonesty. She won't be attending Princeton. Frankly, after what we found, she'll be lucky if any reputable university accepts her. I stared at the letter, feeling nothing. No joy, no satisfaction. Just emptiness where my sister used to be. That's not why I documented everything, I said softly. I know, Dean Morrison said. You did it to protect yourself. But you also did the entire incoming class a favor. We don't want students who cheat their way in. We want students like you. She pulled out another document. Which brings me to my actual proposal. The Jacobson Award is $50,000. It's our most prestigious merit scholarship. I know, thank you. I'm not finished. She smiled. After reviewing your case and discussing it with the board, we've decided to offer you something more. Full tuition, room, and board for all 4 years, plus a $15,000 annual stipend for personal expenses, plus guaranteed funding for any summer research or internships you want to pursue. I couldn't breathe. That's over $300,000. You've earned it, she said simply. And Rebecca, we've also flagged your application for our accelerated PhD track program. If you're interested in continuing to graduate school after your bachelor's, we'd like to guarantee you admission and full funding. I was crying. I couldn't help it. In my first life, I died having withdrawn my scholarship appeal, believing I wasn't worth fighting for. Now Princeton was fighting for me. Graduation came and went. I walked across the stage to polite applause, collected my diploma, and got into Jessica's car without looking back at the audience. My family hadn't come, hadn't expected them to. What I hadn't expected was the 3 people waiting at Jessica's house: my mom, my dad, and Madison. We need to talk, Mom said as soon as I walked in. No, I said, turning to leave. Rebecca, wait. Dad's voice stopped me. He sounded broken. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I stayed. We sat in Jessica's living room, them on one couch, me on the other, Jessica hovering protectively nearby. We made mistakes, Dad said finally. We see that now. Mistakes, I repeated flatly. We favored Madison, Mom said, the words clearly painful. Eyes. We thought you were so capable that you didn't need our support, that you'd be fine on your own. While Madison needed you to function, I finished. So you gave her everything and gave me nothing. It wasn't. Mom stopped. Started again. Yes. That's what we did. Madison hadn't said anything. She sat between our parents, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Madison has something to say, Dad prompted. My sister took a shaky breath. I'm sorry. For what, specifically? For stealing your work. For lying. For everything. She was crying now. You're right. I built everything on your back. I took and never gave anything back. And now I have nothing. No college, no scholarship, no future. And it's my own fault. I should have felt satisfaction, victory, something. Instead, I just felt tired. You had every advantage, I said quietly. Loving parents, financial support, a sister who would have helped you if you just asked honestly. But you wanted to win more than you wanted to earn anything. You wanted to be me instead of becoming yourself. I know, Madison whispered. I looked at my parents. And you enabled every bit of it. You created a monster, then blamed me when she destroyed things. We're sorry, Mom said. We're so sorry. Is there any way, can we fix this? I thought about my first life, about dying alone, believing I was worthless, never knowing my own value. I thought about this life, about fighting back, about winning, about the full scholarship and the PhD track and the future stretching out before me like an open road. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe someday, but not now, not until you've actually changed, not just apologize because you're facing consequences. I stood up. I'm going to Princeton in the fall. I'm going to have the life I worked for, and I'm going to do it without you. If you want a relationship with me someday, you need to figure out how to value me for who I am, not what I can do for Madison. I walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and Madison, community college isn't the end of the world. If you actually work hard for once, you might surprise yourself. I left them there, 3 people I'd once desperately wanted to love me, now small and distant in my rearview mirror. Princeton in the fall was everything I'd dreamed of. My dorm room overlooked the campus quad. My classes were challenging and exciting. My professors actually knew my name. And I was free. Free from the weight of family expectations. Free from the constant comparisons. Free from making myself smaller so Madison could shine. I threw myself into my studies, joined the research lab of a Nobel laureate, made friends who valued me for my mind, not what I could do for them. Started dating a sweet guy from my chemistry class who thought my work ethic was attractive, not threatening. 3 months into the semester, I got an email from Madison. I'm at community college. It's hard. I never realized how hard school actually is when you can't cheat. But I'm doing it. I'm getting B's and C's, and they're mine. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. I didn't respond, not yet. Maybe someday. 4 months in, Mom sent a card. No letter, just a card that said, thinking of you. It was progress, I supposed. 6 months in, Dad showed up at campus without warning. I'm not here to ask for anything, he said when I met him at a coffee shop, wary and guarded. I just wanted to see you, to see that you're okay. I'm more than okay, I said, and I'm thriving. I can see that. He smiled, but it was sad. You look happy, confident, free. I am. I robbed you of that, he said quietly. Your mother and I both did. We were so focused on fixing Madison that we broke you instead. Or we tried to, but you were stronger than we realized. I didn't disagree. I'm in therapy, he continued, your mother too, trying to figure out how we failed so badly, how we convinced ourselves that parenthood was a zero-sum game where supporting one daughter meant destroying the other. It's not a zero-sum game, I said. I said, there was enough love to go around. You just chose not to give me any. He flinched. You're right, we did. And I don't know if you'll ever forgive us, but I want you to know I'm proud of you. I should have said it 1,000 times before. I'm saying it now. It wasn't enough. Maybe it never would be, but it was something. Thank you, I said. I appreciate you telling me. We talked for an hour. It was stilted and awkward and painful, but it was a start. When he left, I didn't cry. I didn't feel much of anything except a quiet recognition that closure doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's just a conversation in a coffee shop, two people trying to bridge a gap that might always be too wide. Sometimes it's enough to know you survived. Spring semester brought a surprise, a package from Dean Morrison. Inside was a framed photograph from the annual Jacobson Scholarship Dinner. Me in a formal dress standing between the dean and the scholarship's namesake, Dr. Harold Jacobson himself. There was also a letter. Dear Rebecca, I wanted you to have this photograph as a reminder of what you've accomplished. When we selected you for the Jacobson Award, we knew you were exceptional. What we didn't know was that you'd become something of a legend among the faculty. Your professors speak of you with genuine awe. Your research has already attracted attention from multiple graduate programs. And your willingness to mentor younger students, particularly those from difficult backgrounds, has not gone unnoticed. You took the worst circumstances and transformed them into fuel for excellence. That's not just impressive, it's inspirational. Dr. Jacobson asked me to tell you personally that in the 43 years he's been funding this scholarship, he's never been more confident that he invested in the right person. Keep shining, Rebecca. The world needs people like you. All my best, Dean Patricia Morrison. I hung the photograph in my dorm room, right above my desk where I could see it every day. A reminder that I'd been chosen. Not despite my struggles, but because of them. Summer came. I was invited to stay on campus for a research internship, fully funded, naturally. The lab work was intense and fascinating. I was investigating genetic markers for cancer resistance, work that could actually save lives. One afternoon in July, I was so deep in data analysis that I almost missed my phone ringing. Hello? Is this Rebecca Chen? An unfamiliar voice, professional and warm. Yes? My name is Dr. Sarah Park. I'm on the board of the Jacobson Foundation, the organization that funds your scholarship. I sat up straighter. Oh, hello. I'll get right to the point. Every year we select one Jacobson Scholar to become a foundation ambassador. It comes with additional funding, networking opportunities, and the chance to help shape our scholarship criteria going forward. We'd like to offer you that position. Wow, thank you. Can I ask why? She laughed. Because Dean Morrison told us your story. Not the details, she respects your privacy, but enough for us to understand that you represent exactly what we're looking for. Students who overcome tremendous obstacles and still manage to excel. I'd be honored, I said. Excellent. There's one other thing. Part of the ambassador role is public speaking. We'd want you to share your story at fundraising events, talk to potential scholars, maybe even do some media interviews. Would you be comfortable with that? I thought about my first life, where I'd died believing my story didn't matter, where I'd let my family convince me that my struggles weren't worth fighting for. Yes, I said, I'm comfortable with that. Perfect. We'll be in touch with details. After we hung up, I sat in the empty lab surrounded by equipment and data and the quiet hum of machines and let myself feel it. Pride. Genuine, uncomplicated pride. I'd done it. I'd won. Not just the scholarship, not just the acceptance, but something bigger. I'd reclaimed my life. The speaking events started that fall. Small audiences at first, donor dinners, alumni gatherings. I talked about perseverance, about fighting for your worth, about refusing to let others define your value. I never mentioned my rebirth. That was too strange, too unbelievable. Instead, I framed it as a moment of clarity, a decision to stop accepting crumbs and demand the feast. People responded. After every speech, someone would come up to me with tears in their eyes, thanking me for putting their experience into words and saw, my family did the same thing, one woman told me, a successful lawyer in her 40s. Made me the scapegoat while my brother got everything. I spent years trying to earn their love before I realized they were never going to give it. Hearing you say that it's okay to walk away, that meant everything. A young man, probably college-aged, approached after another event. I'm the oldest of five, he said. My parents keep telling me to sacrifice for my siblings, to give up my college fund for their expenses. I was going to do it, but after hearing you, I'm going to fight for myself instead. This, I realized, was the real victory, not the scholarship or the degree or even the revenge on my family. It was knowing that my pain, my struggle, my choice to fight back, it all meant something beyond myself. Sophomore year, I got another surprise. Madison requested to visit campus. I almost said no, but curiosity won out. She looked different. Thinner, tired, but somehow more present. Less like a glossy magazine cutout and more like an actual person. "Thank you for seeing me," she said when we met at a bench outside the library. "I almost didn't." "I know." She twisted her hands in her lap. "I've been in therapy. A lot of therapy. Working through why I did what I did, why I needed to tear you down to feel good about myself. And I realized I was jealous of you from the start. You were smart without trying. People naturally liked you. You had this inner confidence that I never had. So I tried to take it. I thought if I could steal your achievements, I'd absorb whatever it was that made you special. That's not how it works. I know that now." She looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in our lives. "You want to know the worst part? Mom and Dad didn't create my jealousy. They just fed it. It was always there. I always wanted what you had, even when we were kids." I didn't know what to say to that. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Madison continued. "I'm not asking for anything, really. I just wanted you to know that I see you now. I see what I took from you, what I tried to destroy. And I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry." She stood up. "I should go, but before I do, I'm proud of you, Becca. I know I have no right to be, but I am. You're doing exactly what you should be doing, and I'm glad." She left before I could respond. That night, I cried for the first time in months. Not from sadness or anger, but from something more complicated. Relief, maybe, or closure, or just the release of finally being seen by the person who'd spent years making me invisible. I didn't reach out to Madison after that, didn't send an email or a text, but I didn't block her either. Left the door open just a crack. Maybe someday we'd walk through it. Maybe not. Either way, I'd be okay. Junior year brought the PhD acceptance letter I'd been promised, a guaranteed spot in Princeton's molecular biology program, full funding, and the offer to start research in my senior year. I framed the letter next to the Jacobson photograph. Senior year brought my thesis, an expansion of my summer research that got published in a major scientific journal. My name, Rebecca Chen, in print. Permanent, indisputable, mine. I framed that too. Graduation came on a perfect May morning. I walked across the stage in my cap and gown, heard my name called with the annotation Summa Cum Laude, Jacobson Scholar, and felt like I was floating. In the audience, Jessica and her family cheered. Some of my professors clapped. Dr. Jacobson himself was there, giving me a standing ovation. And in the back row, almost hidden, sat three people I didn't expect. My mom, my dad, and Madison. They didn't approach me after the ceremony, just waved from a distance, then left. But they had come. That was something. The summer after graduation, before my PhD program officially started, I got one last surprise. An email from an address I didn't recognize. "Dear Rebecca, my name is Amanda Liu. I was accepted to Princeton this year as a Jacobson Scholar. Dean Morrison gave me your contact information and suggested I reach out. I wanted to thank you. I saw your speech at the scholarship ceremony, the one where you talked about fighting for your worth, even when your family tells you you're not worth fighting for. That was my life too. My parents favored my brother, told me to give up my college dream so he could go to a better school. I was going to do it. I was going to give up. But then I saw your speech and I thought, if she could fight, so can I. So I did. I applied anyway. I earned the scholarship, and now I'm going to Princeton. I don't know if you realize how many people you've saved with your story, but I wanted you to know You saved me. Thank you. Amanda. I read the email 3 times, then saved it in a folder labeled Why It Mattered. Because that was the answer, wasn't it? The reason for all of it, the pain, the struggle, the rebirth, the revenge, the victory. So that somewhere out there, a girl like Amanda Liu could hear my story and decide she was worth fighting for too. 5 years later, I'm 27. I've completed my PhD. I'm leading my own research team at a major cancer research institute. My work has been featured in multiple journals, and I've been invited to speak at conferences around the world. I bought a house, a small but beautiful place with a garden and big windows that let in streams of light. And I'm happy. Genuinely. Uncomplicated happy in a way I never was in my first life. My family is back in my life, sort of. We have dinner once a month. It's still awkward, still strained, but there's effort. Real effort. They're trying. Some days that's enough. Madison finished community college, transferred to state school, and graduated with a degree in education. She's a middle school teacher now, and apparently a good one. She sends me photos of her classroom sometimes, messages that say, I'm trying to be the kind of teacher I needed when I was young. We're not friends. Maybe we never will be. But we're no longer enemies either. We're just sisters who are learning how to be people around each other. Mom and Dad are still in therapy. They've apologized 100 times in 100 different ways. They've acknowledged their failures, their favoritism, their cruelty. They've tried to make amends. I've forgiven them mostly, not because they deserve it, but because carrying the anger was exhausting. But I haven't forgotten. Never forgotten. The lesson stays with me. Your family can love you and still destroy you. Good intentions don't cancel out bad actions. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away. Last week, I got an invitation to speak at Princeton's graduation ceremony. They want me to give the commencement address. I said yes. I've been working on the speech for days. It's about second chances, about rebirth, though they don't know how literal that is for me. It's about fighting for yourself when no one else will, about refusing to shrink yourself to make others comfortable, about the courage it takes to walk away from people you love when they're destroying you. But mostly it's about this. You are worth fighting for. Even when no one tells you so, even when your family treats you like you don't matter, even when the world overlooks you and underestimates you and tells you to settle for less than you deserve, you are worth the fight. I know because I've lived 2 lives. One where I gave up and one where I fought back. The first life ended in tragedy. The second life became a triumph. And if I could do it, survive family betrayal, systematic favoritism, years of abuse and neglect, then anyone can. That's what I'll tell them. The graduates sitting in the audience, some with loving families behind them, some with families like mine. The ones who need to hear that walking away is sometimes the strongest thing you can do. I'll tell them about the scholarship appeal I withdrew in another life, about the truck that killed me, about waking up 15 years old again with a second chance to get it right. No, wait. I can't tell them that part. They'd think I was insane. But I can tell them everything else. About the betrayal, the documentation, the trap I set, the victory. About the dean who called personally. About the scholarship that changed my life, about the choice to fight for myself when no one else would, and about the girl in the audience who'll hear my words and decide she's worth fighting for too. That's the real victory, not the scholarship or the degree or the revenge. It's knowing that my pain became someone else's power. It's knowing that my second chance gave someone else their first. Tonight, I'm having dinner with Dean Morrison. She's become a mentor, a friend, someone who saw my worth when I was still learning to see it myself. Are you nervous about the speech? She asks over wine. Terrified, I admit. Good, she says, smiling. The best speeches come from fear, from vulnerability, from truth. I want to tell them about the rebirth, I say suddenly, about dying and coming back. She doesn't laugh, doesn't tell me I'm crazy, just considers it. Do you think they'd believe you? Probably not. But maybe it doesn't matter if they believe the mechanics. Maybe what matters is they believe the message, that you can come back from anything, that you can remake yourself, that you can be reborn, metaphorically if not literally. Then tell them, she says simply. Tell your truth. Let them interpret it however they need to. So that's what I'll do. I'll stand in front of thousands of people and tell them I died, that I came back, that I used my second chance to reclaim the life that was stolen from me. And maybe some of them will think I'm speaking metaphorically about overcoming adversity. And maybe a few of them will hear the truth beneath the words. Either way, they'll hear this. You are not defined by the people who failed to love you. You are not limited by the family who tried to hold you down. You are not the scapegoat, the backup, the forgotten one. You are powerful. You are worthy. You are enough. And when they try to make you withdraw your appeal, when they try to make you smaller, when they try to steal what's yours, fight back. Document everything. Build your case. Set your traps. Wait for your moment. And when the dean calls with a better offer, and she will call, if you're patient and clever and brave, take it. Take all of it. The scholarship, the opportunity, the life you deserve. Take it and run and never look back. That's what I'll tell them. That's my commencement address. That's my story. And it starts with this. They made me withdraw my scholarship appeal. After Rebirth, the dean called me personally with a better offer. This is how I won.